In January of 2003, Spain was jolted awake by one of the most gut-wrenching, horrifying crimes imaginable. Sandra Palo, a 22-year-old gem from Getafe, Madrid, sweet, kind, and a bit vulnerable due to a slight mental disability, vanished into thin air that fateful night. On January 17th, 4 young thugs, 3 of them barely out of their teens, snatched her right off the street while she was simply trying to make her way home after visiting a friend. They dragged her to the desolate outskirts of the city, where the unthinkable happened. They tortured her, assaulted her, and ultimately stabbed her to death in a horrific frenzy of violence. And as if that wasn't enough to cover their tracks, they burned her body and callously dumped her remains by the roadside like trash. When her body was discovered, the entire country was left reeling in shock and disbelief. The monsters who committed this heinous act were apprehended. But justice, well, that felt like a distant dream, because 3 of them were minors. They got off with a slap on the wrist, just a handful of years in juvenile detention, and were back on the streets in no time. The only adult among them received a measly 25-year sentence, and one of those minors, a punk known as El Rafita, went on to reoffend multiple times after his release, proving that the system had utterly failed. The tragic case of Sandra Palo became a rallying cry for outrage across Spain, a desperate plea for reform, for tougher sentences to hold violent youth accountable. Her mother, the fierce Maria del Mar Bermudez, never backed down in her relentless fight for justice. Fast forward over 20 years later, and people in Spain still remember her name, still echoing the same heart-wrenching question: when the hell will justice truly be fair?